He wouldn't do something that hurtful. Doesn't mean it's easy though, because she still has to deal with these friends. I think the only thing you can do is, once you know that this is real, this has actually happened, you just gotta leave those people out of your life. I mean, it's not a scenario where these two girls liked a guy, but neither one had been in a relationship with him, and then one stated that she liked him, the other one didn't, and one went after him. It's not like that at all. She was married to him. I mean, it would be bad enough if she was in a relationship, obviously, but she was straight up married for that long, and at least one friend, we know it's more than one because she said friends, went to go do this to her. So all those people, you gotta round them up, get rid of them. It's not worth it. It really must hurt to lose a lifelong friend, but is that really a friend that would do that with someone that you've been in a marriage with before they're even divorced? I guess they're technically still married. Maybe you have a totally different takeaway and you think this is totally fine. If so, let me know what your thoughts are down below, and what would you do? My baby's mama, my ex, has feelings for my current fiance. I did not see this coming at all. My ex and I are very good at co-parenting. I love that we get along because that allows our kids to still feel like we're a family, even though her and I aren't together anymore. She comes over and sometimes spends time with me, my fiance, and the kids. We all go out to eat, go shopping, etc. I guess with all the time we spent together, my ex started having feelings for my fiance. They get along extremely well, which always made me feel lucky because I don't want any drama, especially around the kids. Well, now I kind of wish they didn't get along this well. I should have known when my ex started talking to my fiance to go and get their nails done and get drinks, etc. I also remembered my ex tried to kiss my fiance one night when we all got a little too sloshed not too long ago, but we all blamed it on the drinks. Now I know why she did it. She just told me yesterday that she's falling for my fiance and can't stop thinking about her. I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know if this is my ex fishing for attention. Do I distance myself from my ex? How is that going to affect the kids? What am I supposed to do? As a mini update, I talked to my fiance and she is not sure what to do either. She wants to distance herself from my ex and not be around her anymore. We'll also work on boundaries. I'm just not sure how this will affect the kids. What should I do? This whole thing becomes way more complicated because the ex and the OP have kids together, so we can't just cut her out of his life altogether. The ex is always going to be there to at least some degree because they have kids together. I mean, maybe the only thing to do here is just to explain to the ex that there is absolutely no chance of anything like this happening, assuming that's what the fiance really feels. And if that's the case, then the OP and the fiance should probably sit down with the ex and say, hey, we understand you feel this way, but this is never going to happen. It doesn't matter how this goes down, it's not going to happen. I think being extremely blunt about the situation is the only way to take this head on, because you can't just remove this woman from your life anymore. But maybe you have a better solution. Let me know down below. My wife and I are split about when to have children. I'm a 25-year-old male and my wife is 23 years old. After a year of marriage, she wanted to start a family, and if this were any other time, I would be more than happy. My issue is that she has a drinking problem, and I don't feel she should be raising children at this time. When she gets sloshed, she would be belligerent, and when I would try to stop her, she slaps me. I don't want the same thing to happen to our kids. That's why I want her to quit drinking before we have kids. She doesn't think that she has a problem, but she clearly does. It's gotten to the point where I had to stop sleeping with her and put myself in a different room because she was trying to do this while I was asleep. How do I convince her to go to rehab before we have children? This is a whole can of worms. As I'm sure most of you guys know, if you're drinking during your pregnancy, that can lead to all sorts of issues with the baby, and it's really unfair to the baby to come out with any type of birth defects or addictions before they're even born. But even besides that, he's really focusing on the lifestyle of the kids as they're growing up. If she really becomes belligerent like that, that's going to be a pretty terrible childhood for these kids, and I think he's totally right to be beyond hesitant to want to have that be a future for his future kids. One of the top responses from Trees1 said something pretty insightful. He says, I'm going to be honest with you, you probably can't get her to go to rehab. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. My best advice would be to have a conversation with her about children and how her behaviors correlate to her not being in the right mindset for kids. If this conversation can't be done with just the two of you, probably a counselor would be helpful. The OP told this person, I tell her this, but she insists she can be a great mother and is insulted that I would say she could be a bad mother. Based on a lot of the OP's responses, it sounds like the wife doesn't want help at all. She doesn't think that she needs help, and I guess is in some sort of denial, which makes this whole thing a lot harder to deal with, because if she accepted that she does have a problem, then she can start working on it. If she doesn't admit that she has a problem, then it's hard to work on anything, because what is there to work on? And her being so young, I mean, she's only 23 years old, and to already have a habit that's severe enough that it causes your husband to go online and make a post about it, that's not a great starting point to build everything else on top of. So I think, like the comment says, you can't help people that don't want to be helped, but maybe there's some hope of